It's a crisp October evening in 1670, and Paris has no idea it's living through one more ordinary twilight before the night claims its due. Within hours, the city will transform. Streets that hum with life now will empty into silent traps. A wrong turn, a slipped foot, a whispered challenge in the dark, and you vanish, robbed and bleeding in a gutter, drowned in the Seine, stabbed for a few sous and left for the morning carts. Many never reach home. But right now, the sun lingers low over the river, gilding the water in long streaks of orange. You stand on the right bank, watching the last boats unload their barrels of wine from Burgundy. Lantern lighters move along the quays with their long poles, touching flame to wicks inside the new glass lanterns that King Louis has ordered hung across the main streets. Flickering light catches on the wet cobblestones. Vendors still cry their wares: hot chestnuts, fresh oysters, ribbons from Lyon. The air carries wood smoke, river mud, and the faint sweetness of baking bread drifting from open shop doors. You feel the chill settling. The crowds are thick, pressing close. A water carrier brushes past, his buckets sloshing. A noble's carriage rattles by, splashing filth from the central gutter. Somewhere, church bells mark the hour. Life feels eternal here at dusk. Yet you know what they do not. The lanterns reach only so far. Beyond their pools of yellow light, the alleys wait, narrow, unlit, alive with eyes. The night watch is thin. The new police are few. And Paris, for all its grandeur, still devours the careless after dark. You draw your cloak tighter, the sun slips away, it begins. You're standing in the middle of the Pont Neuf, the newest bridge in Paris, wide enough for carriages to pass without touching. Lanterns sway overhead, their candles newly lit, throwing trembling circles onto the stone. Below, the Seine slides black and slow, carrying the day's refuse toward the sea. The air smells of wet rope, tar, and the sharp tang of fresh horse dung dropped by passing mounts. Street performers still work the crowds. A juggler tosses flaming torches. A woman sings a plaintive ballad about lost love. Booksellers spread forbidden pamphlets on folding tables. Pickpockets weave through the press of bodies, apprentices in coarse wool, merchants in darker cloaks, a few masked nobles slumming for excitement. You hear the slap of cards from impromptu gaming tables, the clink of coins changing hands. A tooth puller displays his grisly trophies in a bowl. The bridge feels alive, safe almost, lanterns every 20 paces. The king's archers patrol in pairs, yet even here shadows gather under the arches. Somewhere across the water, in the tangle of streets beyond the lighted quays, the Cour des Miracles stirs, where the day's cripples walk upright and plan tomorrow's deceptions. You linger too long, the juggler's torches gutter lower. The song ends on a sour note. One by one the honest leave. The bridge empties, the lanterns burn on, but their light feels thinner now. Time to move north. You leave the bridge and walk toward the looming mass of the Chatelet, the fortress prison that guards the entrance to the right bank. Lanterns line the Grand Rue here, brighter than most streets, yet the glow barely reaches the high walls. The air turns colder. You smell damp stone, old blood, and the sour reek drifting from the prison gratings. Torches burn at the gates. Guards in blue coats eye passersby. Inside those walls, Gabriel Nicolas de la Reynie, the king's new lieutenant of police, keeps his offices. His men have begun clearing the streets of vagrants, hanging lanterns, posting watches. Progress, they call it, yet cries still echo from the cells below. A drunk is dragged in, protesting. Chains rattle. You pass the morgue entrance. Bodies fished from the river lie there nightly, some robbed, some drowned, some simply lost in the dark. The gutter runs thick tonight, your boots stick in the mud. A rat scurries past, fat and unafraid. The crowd thins quickly now. Respectable folk hurry home before full dark. Only servants on late errands, soldiers seeking wine, and those with nowhere to go remain. You hear footsteps behind you, too measured, too close, then fade into an alley. The lanterns help, but they also cast long shadows where anyone can wait. You press on toward Les Halles, the great central market. The stalls are closing, wooden shutters slamming down. The smell hits you first: rotting cabbage leaves, fish guts, spilled wine, and the heavy sweetness of overripe fruit trampled underfoot. Lanterns hang from iron hooks above the main aisles, but many have already been extinguished to save candles. Shadows pool between the piles of refuse. Porters haul the last crates away, earning their 12 sous for a long day's labor. A butcher wipes blood from his apron. A woman sells the final loaves, 4 pounds of coarse bread for 8 sous, more than many can spare. You hear the scrape of knives, the low bargaining, the occasional shout as someone tries to cheat the scales. The market feels different at night. Honest traders gone. Only the desperate linger, scavengers picking through waste, prostitutes in doorways, boys with quick fingers. You notice figures watching from the edges, faces half lit. One steps forward, begging alms, his hand already reaching. You step back, another moves behind you. The air feels heavier here. The lanterns are fewer. The streets beyond the market stretch away into blackness, no lights at all in the side lanes. Somewhere a dog barks furiously, then yelps and falls silent. If you're finding yourself pulled into this world, consider subscribing. There are many more nights like this one waiting. You realize the danger now. The market is no refuge. It is a place to be robbed quietly amid the chaos. The air feels different now, thicker. You leave Les Halles behind and turn into Rue Saint-Denis, one of the main thoroughfares, yet even here the lanterns grow sparse. Many candles have burned low or been stolen. The street narrows. Tall wooden houses lean overhead, their upper stories almost touching, blocking what little moonlight remains. Your footsteps echo. The smell shifts. Chamber pots emptied from windows hours ago still steam faintly in the cold. Mud sucks at your boots ankle-deep in places. No pavements. The central gutter runs foul with waste. A carriage thunders past, splashing filth across your cloak. The driver never slows. Figures move in the doorways, hooded shapes. You hear whispers, a low laugh cut short. A hand brushes your sleeve, someone testing if you're alone. You walk faster, the lanterns behind you fade. Ahead, only occasional flickers mark the way. A night watchman passes, lantern on a pole, calling the hour in a bored voice. 11 o'clock and all is well. His companion carries a halberd, but there are only two of them for streets full of shadows. They disappear around a corner. Silence returns. You realize how easy it would be, one shout muffled. One blade in the dark, a body left till morning. The new police are trying, but Paris is vast and the night is patient. You're now at the edge of the old city where the streets dissolve into a warren of alleys near the vanished Cour des Miracles. The last lantern is far behind. Here, no light reaches at all. The air hangs heavy with the stench of uncollected refuse, human waste, and the sour tang of fear. You hear movement everywhere, soft footsteps, a stifled cough, the scrape of metal on stone. Shapes detach from walls and melt back. Eyes reflect the faint starlight. This is where the day's beggars return, shedding their crutches, dividing their takings. Thieves, cut purses, worse. The king's men have raided these places, but the darkness always reclaims them. Your heart pounds, every shadow seems to breathe. A voice hisses from an alley, words you don't catch, but the tone is clear. Invitation or threat, you freeze. The cold bites through your clothes, the mud holds your feet like hands. Somewhere distant, a church bell tolls midnight. The sound rolls over the rooftops, lonely and indifferent. You understand now, the lanterns on the great streets were never enough. Paris at night belongs to those who know its secrets, and you do not. You stand utterly alone, the city has closed around you. There is no safe path home from here. How do we know this night so intimately? Through the meticulous records of Gabriel Nicolas de la Reynie, the first Lieutenant General of Police, appointed just 3 years earlier. His reports detail the bodies found each dawn, throats cut for a silver buckle, skulls cracked for a purse of sous, drownings in the Seine after a stumble in the dark. Parish burial registers list the unnamed dead. Court documents describe arrests in the very alleys you walked, thieves caught with blood still wet on their blades. Archaeological traces remain, fragments of those crude lanterns, shards of glass from broken windows where residents once placed obligatory candles. Contemporary chronicles speak of the fear that emptied streets after sunset, of nobles traveling only with armed escorts, of servants carrying torches ahead of their masters. The gaps are real. We cannot know every footstep, every whispered threat. We cannot hear the final thoughts of those who vanished, but the pattern is clear. Within decades, La Reynie's reforms would expand, more lanterns, stronger watches, the gradual breaking of the criminal slums. Crime would fall. Night would slowly become survivable. Yet in 1670, Paris still belonged to the shadows after dark. Its people couldn't have known how fragile their safety was, how one wrong turn could end everything. They hurried home, bolted doors, prayed for morning. Neither did they, neither do we.